Hi, fabulous family. Sally the Seeker here. I hope you all are doing well. I am happier because I didn't sweat today. We're in the 50s here in Florida, which for most of you who live up north are probably going, what? That's nothing. But for me, I love it. The cooler weather makes me feel so much better and happier. Most people here hate it and they're all bundled up. They look kind of ridiculous. But anyhow, neither here nor there. So we're going to continue on with this trial. And the next witness they're going to call is for the state. And his name is Officer Garrett Luling. And he was there and involved with the arrest while Detective Carpenter was there. And I think he is the one who actually got the key and the cards out of Darrell's or Darrell's pocket, while as Detective Carpenter just got the sandwich out of the coat that Good Samaritan Daniel Ryder made for him. So I'm quite certain that during his cross-examination, and I believe I've seen this one too, but it's been a long time, he's going to ask some ridiculous questions, waste time. And I know a few of you have mentioned on here before in the comments, and it makes me laugh when he's reading the reports, his head goes back and forth like a typewriter. You are so right. And now every time I watch him read, it cracks me up. So thank you all for that. So without further ado, let's see what he's got for us this time.
Statement calls next witness.
Thank you. The state calls Officer Garrett Luling.
Good afternoon, officer. If you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is up a riser to my right. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand, and my clerk, Teresa, who's on my left, will swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Please be seated. If you would please state your first and last names for the record and spell each.
Sure. The first name is Garrett, last name is Luling. First name is spelled Garrett. My last name is spelled Luling.
Thank you. Go ahead, Attorney Upper, your witness.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, Officer Luling.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I want to direct your attention to the date of November 21 of 2021. And you were aware of the Waukesha Christmas parade taking place that afternoon. Is that correct, sir?
Objection, lead.
Correct, I was working.
Hold on.
Oh, Lord.
Understand it's leading, there is some leeway when it's just laying foundation, so it's overruled, and the witness may answer, and the answer he provided may stand. Go ahead.
Correct, I was assigned to work the Christmas parade.
All right. At some point in time, were you aware of injuries to those involved in the parade, sir?
Objection, lead.
Yes.
Overruled. Make sure you rule on the objection, please.
Sorry.
And at some point later that evening, were you aware of a suspect being taken into custody in the 500 block of Elizabeth Street?
Objection, lead.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes.
All right, I want to direct your attention to that time frame, please. Did you respond to that area, sir?
Yes.
Where did you go?
Okay, I had to laugh at that. Did you see how his eyes looked over like, okay, idiot, are you going to object to something? You know how many people they have to deal with. Oh, God bless you. Thank you for your service if you were a police officer. Oh, my goodness. Okay, here we go.
I was initially parked setting up a perimeter near the area of Southwest Avenue in Wood. when I heard Specialist Klein come over the area indicating that there's a subject going door to door in the 500 block of Elizabeth Street, and then traveled north and to Elizabeth Street, which is right off of Northwest Avenue at that point. And I traveled westbound on Elizabeth Street looking for the subject.
What did you see when you arrived in that area?
Initially, as I came to the area, I observed an officer from the village of McGuanago, an officer from the Big Bend Police Department, as well as an officer from the City of Delafield Police Department in the area. I traveled westbound, spotlighting residents in the general area looking for the subject. Initially, I didn't see anyone, so I made it to the end of the street, at which point I began to double back. I briefly stopped and spoke with some civilians in the area, just saying, hey, if you see anyone,
Excuse me, guys.
call the police department, let us know. And as I traveled back eastbound on Elizabeth Street in the 500 block, I observed the three officers from those aforementioned police departments detaining one subject at gunpoint in the front lawn of 553 Elizabeth Street.
You had indicated there were people out and about, civilians.
Yes, there was some people out on their porches or patios. I had my lights going on my squad, so that drew attention for people to kind of look out and call out to me as I was making a Y-turn.
Do you know about what time of day this was?
Not off the top of my head, it was dark out though.
Okay. As in relation to when the incident at the parade occurred to when you're arriving on Elizabeth Street, can you give us a rough time frame?
Objection leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
45 minutes an hour at the max.
Okay. So when you roll up on 553 Elizabeth Street, tell me what you saw.
So as I was coming back eastbound, I could see the lights from the other officers illuminating a subject on the ground. I immediately pulled up, parked my squad, got out and began running to where the officers were. And as I came up to where they were in the front lawn area between the residents and the sidewalk, they were in the midst of handcuffing and detaining a subject on the ground.
The subject that was being handcuffed and detained on the ground, you see that person in the courtroom here today.
I do, yes.
Are you able to identify him?
Yes,
Would you like him to remove his mask in order to do so, sir?
please.
Okay.
Mr. Brooks, if you would please. Thank you.
So the subject I saw was Darrell Brooks seated at the defendant's table wearing a dark-colored suit with a gray shirt.
And you said he was already on the ground in the process of being handcuffed, is that correct?
Yes.
Did you see any officers slam Mr. Brooks to the ground?
No.
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
No.
Did you see any use
Love
of
his eye
force
roll.
directed towards Mr. Brooks by any police officer on the scene at that time?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
No.
Did you approach Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Did you speak to him?
Yes.
What did you say?
I asked him to identify himself. At that time, he said Brooks. I again asked him to identify himself. He identified himself as Darrell Brooks.
That's the name he gave you, identifying himself.
Yes.
Objection. That's not what it says in the video.
Oh, for the love.
Overruled.
Yes.
All right. Did that name have any significance when you heard it, sir?
Yes.
Why?
I knew prior to responding to that location that Officer Moss, who had initially located the car, had made a cursory check of the vehicle. During that time, he found documentation belonging to a Darrell Brooks.
At some point, do you recall getting Mr. Brooks up off the ground?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
That's a shame.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes.
Tell us what you remember at that point.
Darrell Brooks was picked up off the ground or assisted off the ground. He was then escorted to the front of my marked squad where I searched him.
At this point, are you probably the only officer from the City of Waukesha Police Department on the scene?
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled. You may answer.
Please.
Yes, I was the only officer from the city of Waukesha at that time.
And the other officers were providing mutual aid to the City of Waukesha Police Department?
Objection leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes.
being the squad from the city of Waukesha and the parade occurring in Waukesha, did you take custody of Mr. Brooks?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. You may.
Answer. Sorry. It's just so funny to me. And just think about it. If you were sitting there in the jury, well, obviously, I mean, by now, there have been so many people who have identified him. He identified himself. It's in the videos. It's on the, well, I think he had a driver's license, but some sort of identification. And yet, he is going to babble on and interrupt and say, I do not identify by that name. If I was a jury, but like I said, I probably shouldn't serve because I would be so annoyed by now. But can you imagine? He really, that's the thing that gets me about him, is I think he really thought that he was doing very well, but no way. And this guy, his expressions are, to me, so funny because it's very telling. He's very good with his answers and doesn't over-explain or anything, but you can just tell he'd probably rather have a root canal than be here and listen to all this nonsense. But just had to say that because I thought it was funny. But I will continue.
Answer, sir.
Yes.
Prior to placing him in your squad, was Mr. Brooks searched?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes.
Tell us what you remember about that, sir.
So I searched Mr. Brooks, during which time I found some cards in his right pocket that had his name on it, as well as a black Ford key.
When you say some cards, what can you describe those further, please?
Debit or credit cards.
All right, I'm going to show for you an item that's been marked as Exhibit 176. It's been previously admitted and asked that it be displayed for the jury again, Your Honor.
Permission granted.
Objection.
You see the photograph on the monitor in front of you, sir?
Yes.
Do you see yourself in that photograph?
Yes.
Where are you?
I am the officer with his back to the camera with police written across a fluorescent yellow and orange vest.
Do you recall what you were doing at this point in time?
At that point, it looks like I'm buckling Darrell Brooks into the back of my squad,
All
or
right.
placing him into the back of my squad.
And you see a set of hands on the right side of the photograph, sir?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Yes.
You see the objects that are being held in those hands, sir?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Yes.
Is that consistent with what you just testified as to the items you removed from Darrell Brooks before placing him in your squad?
Objection.
Overruled.
Consent to being called that
Yeah,
name.
we don't care. I
Overruled.
love
You may answer, sir.
Yes.
how many times they're
It's a
saying his
little blurry,
name.
but can you circle for us the key that you indicated you found?
With my finger, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And because it's a little hard to see, can you describe that key as you recalled?
As I recall, the key was a single key. I don't recall there being any keychain to it. It was a fob type that had some buttons, and it had a Ford emblem on it that indicated that was a Ford key.
Okay. What did you do with these items after you, well, strike that. That's, should ask a better question. Did you eventually get these items back from the officer who was holding them?
Yes.
And what did you do with them?
I took custody of them until they were ultimately turned over to Detectives Stern and Detectives Carpenter.
All right. Do you remember Mr. Brooks asking you why he had been detained?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Overruled.
Yes.
You may answer, sir.
Yes.
Do you remember specifically what he said?
I recall that he had questioned why the police were handcuffing him or why the police were detaining him.
Did you reply?
Yes.
What did you tell him?
I told him that he was being detained as he matched a description of a subject involved in a crash in the downtown area.
Did you say anything about the parade?
No.
Okay. Thank you, officer. I don't have any other questions for you.
that was short and sweet. But let's get ready. The typewriter head will be going back and forth, reading the report, trying to find his gotcha moment. But this guy doesn't have time, and he doesn't look like he wants to play or is going to play. And I love it. And I love how many times Attorney Opper and everybody is saying his name over and over again. So the questioning by Sue Opper took about 15 minutes. Let's measure how much time it takes Darrell. And he's going to have all kinds of dumb stuff, you know he is. Thinking he's the smartest person in the room. But this guy is so done already. I can see it. I feel it. We feel you. We feel you, Officer Luling. All right, let's get on with it. Excuse me.
Any cross?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Go ahead.
We can hardly wait.
Do you recall speaking with Officer Moss that evening?
Not distinctly. There might have been some radio traffic between me and him at one point.
So it'd be fair to say that radio traffic, you guys spoke.
I can't tell you if I had direct contact with him or if I just recall him airing particular pieces of information.
Do you recall any particular bit of information that was aired by Officer Moss?
You're going to have to be more specific.
Yeah, no kidding.
Do you recall Officer Moss airing that he had spoken with a potential eyewitness who indicated that they had observed numerous suspects run from the vehicle?
Objection, hearsay.
Grounds?
Overruled, the witness may answer.
I recall Officer Moss airing that to the officers responding in general that there may have been more than one suspect that had ran from the vehicle.
And do you recall if that aired information? Wait a second, back that up.
Mm-hmm.
You just stated that there may have been any reason why the air information said it had been, that he had spoken to a potential eyewitness?
Objection, hearsay, and
Grounds.
false or speculation as to the words of another person.
Grounds?
Sustained.
Yeah.
Rephrase your question.
Do you recall any air information of description?
Yes.
Do you recall what they were?
Objection, hearsay.
Grounds?
You're asking him the description of the suspect leaving the vehicle?
Yeah, what he heard aired.
Overruled, you may answer.
Oh, Lord.
I recall there being a description of either a light-skinned black male or possible Hispanic male wearing a white shirt, as well as the potential of a white male with curly brown hair.
Do you recall what you did after hearing that air information?
Yes.
What did you do?
I responded to Officer Moss's general location, at which point he requested that a perimeter be set up. So I responded further south to set up a perimeter to attempts to keep those people within the confines of that perimeter.
Do you recall what general area that was?
You're going to have to be more descriptive to what general area are we talking about here?
The area where Officer Moss was.
Officer Moss was at 338 Maple.
Is that the area that you responded to?
Generally, yes.
What do you mean by generally?
I was driving to the residence when he asked that a perimeter be set up.
And do you recall where you set that perimeter up?
Yes.
And where was that?
It was loosely around that residents as well as to the south and to the west.
What streets were to the south and to the west?
Numerous streets.
Oh, Lord.
What? I'm referring strictly to your perimeter that you set. Do you recall which street you set your
Excuse me,
perimeter?
Dad.
I want to say that I was probably the southernmost squad at that time, and I was at Southwest and Wood.
I'm sorry, what was the second street?
Wood?
Thank you.
While setting up your perimeter, did you receive any more information about the suspects who fled from the vehicle?
It was all kind of at the same time.
Do you recall being advised that the male black had possibly fled southbound and that the male white may have fled in a westbound direction?
Your Honor, I object. Move to strike. He's providing statements and facts that are not in evidence. They're based on hearsay.
The
Sustained.
question was, did he recall being advised that? That was the question. Does he recall being advised?
Still hearsay. Sustained.
Yeah, advised is being told.
So who were you
Same
advised by?
thing. You can't answer
Officer
it.
Moss.
Oh, we can answer that. Okay.
And do you recall what you were advised?
Objection. Hearsay.
He's trying to ask the same thing.
Sustained. Next question.
Grounds for the sustain, Your Honor?
Next question, please. Hearsay.
Move on.
What's that hearsay?
Oh, that muttering is so annoying. The jury does not like that, trust me. He's an expert after 2 weeks. Typewriter head.
And how did you end up being dispatched to the 500 block of Elizabeth Street?
I heard another officer error that they were listening to Waukesha County Communications, indicating that there was a person going door to door in the 500 block of Elizabeth Street.
I'm sorry, you said you stated you heard that?
Yes.
Would that be like hearsay?
Only if it's being offered for the truth of the matter asserted. If it's just explain what he did next, then no.
That was the same question I asked before, Your Honor.
Shut up, it is not.
And upon arriving at Elizabeth Street, you stated that there was already a suspect being detained at the moment that you arrived?
No.
So what did you observe when you got to the 500 block of Elizabeth Street?
I already explained that upon getting there, I traveled westbound on Elizabeth Street till it ended, at which point I turned around and came back. So when I initially got there, I didn't see anything.
Did you observe someone being detained at gunpoint?
Not upon initially getting there, no.
Not initially. Did at any time you observe someone being detained at gunpoint?
Yes, I already said that.
He did.
Do you recall what they had on?
Yes.
You state for the record and for the jury what they had on?
Jerry.
There are red t-shirts and blue jeans.
Blue jeans. Were they jogging pants or blue jeans?
Appeared to be blue jeans.
Yeah, that's his little jab at Rebecca Carpenter. The one thing she got wrong. He cracks me up. What I like about Officer Luling here, and I mean most of them are like this, they answer the questions. Yes, no. Whereas I'm always one who tends to elaborate. Yes, I blah blah blah, or whatever. But they make him beg for the question, dig it out of him. And that's so sorry. It's cool weather's giving me a tickle in my throat, so I apologize for that. But yeah, so he has to, yes, no, and then, he doesn't elaborate. Most of us, and definitely myself included, offer way more information. But see, that, of course, they've been trained to do that too. I mean, Rebecca Carpenter did the same thing. But let's see. I think this is I'm liking this. This guy is really not having it. His expression, priceless.
And do you recall why the suspect was being detained at that time?
Yes.
And what do you recall about why they were being detained at that time?
You were being detained for involvement in a crash in the downtown area.
He said you, too. Love it.
And upon when the suspect was detained, do you recall stating that you were confident they were either the driver or passenger of the vehicle found at 338 Maple?
No, I never said that.
Did you give a report about what happened that evening?
Yes.
Did you write it yourself?
Yes.
So I'm reading from your report right here that you just stated that you wrote.
We can't wait to hear it.
Do you recall saying, I was confident that Brooks was either the driver or passenger of the striking vehicle?
That is in my report. However, you asked if I said that. I didn't say that. That's more or less an internal dialogue with myself saying that I felt confident that you were the suspect, either the driver or the passenger in that vehicle.
Oh, I like it. He's getting right down to the nitty gritty. Every single thing. That's true. He didn't say it. He was writing, so that's what he was thinking to himself. Okay, keep trying. Keep trying, Brooks.
So it'd be fair to say at the time of your report, you were confident that it was more than one person in the vehicle.
No.
Keep trying, Brooks.
So why did you write the report in that fashion?
I was confident that you were involved with that vehicle and with the crash in the downtown area.
So would it be fair to say that you couldn't have written your report in that fashion instead of the fashion that you wrote it?
Seriously?
Grounds.
Seriously. Very argumentative. Don't tell the man how to write his report. You don't know.
Any reason why you were referred to a passenger?
Yes, initially there was reports that multiple people fled from the vehicle, from the area of the vehicle.
And because of those reports is why you wrote your report in that fashion, or in the fashion that you wrote it.
Objection asked and answered, argumentative.
Grounds.
Sustain this to the form of the question.
These are stupid questions. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Even the bailiff looks like he's had it.
So when you observed the suspect being detained at Elizabeth Street, at that time, did you know the suspect's name?
No.
And you found a credit or debit card when conducting a search?
Yes.
Do you recall where you found that credit or debit card?
Your right pocket.
I love how he said, your right pocket.
In Exhibit 176, where it shows someone holding the credit card, was that you
Was what me?
holding the credit card?
No.
No, because he was the one standing outside. Remember Darrell?
But you are the one that found it.
Yes.
His back was to the car when that picture was made.
And what else did you find?
Oh, gosh.
A Ford car key. Vehicle key.
And where did you find that?
In your
Your
pocket.
right pants pocket.
play Exhibit 80 for the witness?
Please.
Stay able to do that, please? The entire
Can you-
video or just a part of it?
I'm guessing around the 4 minute and 50 or something, somewhere up in that area.
That's the last 10 seconds, sir. Is that what you want?
Yeah, somewhere up in that area.
Again,
Look at it. Is that where you want us to start?
the state is helping him.
A little further back.
Thank you, Ms. Gussie.
Madam
About there.
Clerk.
436.
A little further back, I'm sorry.
Hmm.
Maybe, yeah, wherever it's at right now, 409. Can you put it from there real quick?
Please.
You want the sound, I take it?
I don't really think the sound is necessary. More so the visual.
Okay.
Hey, what are we visualizing here?
Length
Darrell.
and 415.
Do you remember this video?
No, I don't. I didn't. That's not my body cam video.
Pause. Go back like 2 seconds.
Thank you once again for doing that.
Is that this touchscreen, right? Is this right here the credit debit cards that you found?
I can't tell what that is.
I don't even know where he's
Can you clear
touching.
that?
Madam Clerk, please and thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you go back maybe 2 more seconds? I think it's a clearer shot.
For the record, Your Honor, it's not that easy to just jump back 2 seconds. I mean, if he has a specific time, we can jump to a time.
I love
How would I
how.
know if I've only seen the video once? Like, why is it that big of a deal?
Ooh. Well,
Can
it
you play
is.
from right there? Right there.
435, Your Honor.
435.
Now it's on 437. We
Can
started
you pause it at
4.
435?
Right, it was started and then you said pause, and obviously it takes time to do that, so. And the record should reflect that Mr. Brooks has drawn a circle around something on the still image.
Yeah,
Go
definitely
ahead, ask your
something.
question.
The record should reflect consent to that name.
We don't really care, and the record doesn't
Ask your
care either.
question, sir.
Yeah, see, she's fed up too. I'm with you, Judge.
Around the 435 mark, you can see whoever this is holding the credit card, debit card.
I can't tell what
Is
that
that you?
is.
Objection, that assumes the fact not in evidence, Your Honor.
Sustain,
Yeah, that is-
rephrase your question.
we can't even
Clear
see
that.
what that is.
Madam
Please,
Clerk,
please clear it, and thank you. You can't even hardly tell that that's even a credit
You
card.
said that you found a key.
Mhm.
Where's the footage of you finding the key?
Oh, he doesn't have a body
I don't
cam.
have a body cam, so there's not going to be video of my body cam.
As he already said.
So if you were wearing your body cam, it would have depicted what you found during your search.
No, the city of Waukesha did not have body cams during this incident.
So it'd be fair to say there is no footage of you finding a key. Grounds.
It's argumentative, and he's already said he was not wearing a body camera.
Actually,
He can't
said-
know possibly, it's speculation, he can't know possibly.
Actually, he said the city of Waukesha didn't have body cams. He didn't
Oh,
say.
for the love.
Sustained, it assumes facts not in evidence and calls for speculation on the part of this witness, and there's also a lack of foundation as to this witness.
The foundation is this mysterious key he said he found.
The jury will
come
disregard that statement made by
Mysterious
Mr. Brooks.
key.
It's not his time to testify. You will have an opportunity to do that later if you choose.
I don't consent to being called that name for the record.
And none of us care. We all know who you are. The mysterious key, my horse.
And clerk, you can take that off.
What is he going to come up with next? He has to read this long with his typewriter head. You know, he's
At any time that
looking.
evening, were you able to detain any other suspects?
No.
After the suspect was detained, do you recall how long you stayed at the scene?
Which particular part of the scene?
Where you had detained the suspect?
At 553 Elizabeth Street?
Correct.
Off my best estimate, I was probably there for about 25 minutes.
And what did you do in those 25 minutes?
During those 25 minutes was time detaining you, as well as briefly speaking with the homeowner, and ultimately turning you back over to detectives.
And what did you do from there?
From there, I went back into a perimeter position.
Would that be referring to the perimeter that you mentioned that you had set
Yes,
around the area of where Officer Moss was located?
yes.
And how long did you stay at that perimeter?
I'm not 100% positive. Extended period of time.
Do you recall why you were dispatched back to that perimeter?
At that time, there was a possibility that there may be another party involved. So as the investigation was still ongoing and they're attempting to determine if there was another party involved, the perimeter was maintained so that no one could squeeze out through that perimeter and flee.
But we all now know that you were all by yourself. He keeps wanting to allude that there could be somebody else, but everyone knows better. I should be putting down the sound of the background noise of a typewriter going as his head reads. Excuse me, guys, again. Look at their huddled up. They're probably saying, how many more days are we having to deal with this idiot?
And do you recall there being ring footage of the residents of 553 Elizabeth Street?
Yes.
Did you view those? Did you view the ring footage that evening?
No.
Did you view the ring footage at all?
Yes.
Again, I love how he goes, yes, no, and has to make Brooks fish for more questions. Great witness.
Are you aware of what happened to the ring footage?
A copy of the ring footage was emailed to me by the homeowner. And it was ultimately placed on property inventory at the Waukesha Police Department.
Do you recall if it was multiple videos?
It was, yes.
Do you recall at about 1640 hours? I don't know. Would that be 440?
Yes, that's 440.
Do you recall directing traffic at the intersection of Barstow Street and Corina?
Yes.
And do you recall an officer hearing anything over the radio at that time?
Yes, I do.
Do you recall what that was?
An officer had aired that you had driven around his barricade or into the parade route.
You. Who do you refer to as you?
You, Darrell Brooks.
Yeah, you, Darrell
And
Brooks.
you knew that at that time.
Not at that time, no.
So how would you say you?
Throughout the investigation, it was determined to be him.
It's you. Give it a rest.
Do you recall do you recall it being any other air information at that time?
Yes.
Do you recall what that was?
Objection, calls are hearsay.
Grounds.
Are you offering it for the truth of the matter asserted or for some other reason? Otherwise,
For
it's
the
hearsay.
truth of the matter, I'm asking him, does he recall what was aired on his radio?
Well, then you're asking him to testify to hearsay, so it's sustained.
Good. Nice try.
Do you recall an officer indicating that the vehicle was continuing westbound and possibly blaring its horn?
Objection.
Grounds.
Same objection, Your Honor. He's attempting to testify and offering hearsay statements into the record.
I'm not attempting to testify.
You know,
Sustained.
he acts like he knows so much about the law.
Grounds for the sustained.
For the reasons the state indicated.
Like that girl smirking behind him.
Do you recall?
You can ask the witness if he heard any horns at that time. That would be
Judge,
different.
don't help him.
But what someone else may have reported would be hearsay, if it's offered for the truth of the matter asserted.
Well, I'm reading from the report that he wrote.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
That doesn't take away that it's hearsay.
He thinks anything he reads from this report
It's in the
is
report and someone else said it, it's actually double
written
hearsay.
in cement. He relies too much on those reports that his attorneys, former attorneys,
Do
arranged
you recall
alphabetically
hearing
for
about a
him.
vehicle blowing its horn?
Oh, God.
Objection.
Grounds.
Same objection, Your Honor.
Yeah, if you say, did you hear about it?
Overruled, he asked if this witness heard. That's how I heard the question. I think that's
No,
what
he
you were
said, did
asking.
you hear
Maybe not
about? No.
I'm
Did you hear about
Thank
a
you.
horn?
Yeah, see? Yep.
Did you hear it, Your Honor?
No.
If the question was, this witness hear a horn, then
Nope.
the witness may answer the question.
No,
Did he
I
hear
heard.
about a horn, that's different, that would be hearsay. So why don't you rephrase your
Absolutely.
question, sir?
Yes.
Did you hear a horn?
No.
Yeah. There's a lot of time just to get that answer in it. Gosh. Did you hear, Your Honor?
And just so we're clear, I assume that your question meant when he was at Barstow and Karina. Because that's where he was positioned,
Correct.
right? That's what you meant?
Yeah.
Was that your understanding?
Yes.
Okay, very well, next question. Do you have any other questions for this witness?
Yeah.
Yeah. So disrespectful.
Any reason why it would be in your report that the vehicle was blaring its horn?
Oh my
Same
gosh.
objection, Your Honor.
Grounds.
Assumes facts not in evidence. Calls for
Let
hearsay.
it go.
Sustained.
It doesn't matter. If you blew your horn through the whole thing, you still ran over people, ran through the barricade.
Have you read the complaint in this matter?
Oh, here we go. He's getting close to the end now.
No.
I have a complaint.
Have you seen the complaint in this matter?
No.
You yourself filed a claim in this matter?
No.
You know of anyone who filed a claim in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Overruled. He may answer if he knows.
No.
Do you recall whom subpoenaed you to testify here today?
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
The state of Wisconsin. Via the Washoe County District Attorney's Office.
You said state of Wisconsin. Who would you be referring to when you say state of Wisconsin?
The entity that is the state of Wisconsin judicial system.
So the state of Wisconsin is an entity to the best of your knowledge.
Yes.
Is an entity a living, breathing human?
Objection.
Grounds.
Irrelevant, argumentative.
Sustained. Next
See,
question.
Zach, he's so over it, he wants to just laugh because it is so
Do you
incredibly
know if the
stupid.
state of Wisconsin is the plaintiff in this matter?
Yes.
An entity is the plaintiff?
Objection. Argumentative.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Yep. Just stop it, Brooks. Stop it.
Have you ever had any interaction with the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained. It's also overly broad.
Have you dated the plaintiff?
You ever had a phone conversation
Objection. Irrelevant.
with the plaintiff?
About this case,
About this case?
overruled. You may answer.
No.
Have you ever seen the plaintiff in this case?
Objection, Your Honor.
Grounds.
This entire line of questioning is completely irrelevant.
Grounds.
You know, I just can't get over him. You give him a suit, and he knows how to say objection, and he acts as if he has his own law firm. Anything like he'll say, that is not, what is it? They'll say hearsay. That is not hearsay, or he'll argue, and she'll say, well, if you ignore him because it's not his time to testify, and if he testifies, blah, blah, blah. Well, I already knew. I knew from the get-go, way before he ended up not testifying, that there was no way in hell that he would testify, because by doing that, he would have to be questioned by Attorney Opper. And no way in hell, because he knows she would chew him up and spit him out. But he acts all, all tough guy, and, all 140 pounds of him. Good Lord. Okay, let's continue on with this circus. It really is a circus.
Grounds, next question, please.
You got nothing. Let's just admit it. Let's just shut it down.
No further questions.
Thank you. Any
As I
redirect?
thought.
No, nothing else. Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. This will be a good opportunity to take a mid-afternoon break as well. All rise for the jury, please.
Okay. That wraps this one up. We're getting closer and closer to the state's witness, Detective Carpenter, who Brooks will, of course, cross-examine and take forever and a day to do it. But it's getting better and better. But I just think all of these, even these guys who are testifying, are pretty interesting, and how he tries to think he's so slick, and I don't know why he thinks he's so slick. I don't even know. I don't even have any words. But I hoped you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll get another one out soon, and as well as others on some other cases I'm working on. So for now, I will sign off. Thank you, as always, so much for subscribing, for watching, for commenting. I love you all. Don't forget to be kind to other people. Don't forget to be kind to you. And I will see you the next time.